Hello, hello. Thinking leads to eating. Hey, Heather, how can I actually know which voice I'm hearing in my head? How can I know if it's like that lower brain chatter or my higher brain thinking? Because sometimes I'm confused, sometimes I'm unsure. Here's a good general rule of thumb when it comes to identifying if you're listening to your lower brain or if it might be your higher brain. If your lower brain were to say to you, oh my gosh, you look so fat in that, we need to lose weight. What diet are we going to start today? We got to get this under control. Would you say that to a friend? Friend comes to you, says, gained a couple pounds, I don't feel so good, my clothes aren't fitting. Would you say those words to your friend? Heck no, you wouldn't. Heck no, you wouldn't go, you're looking a little fluffy there, my friend. Let's get you on a diet. Let's get something done about this. You wouldn't say these things to a friend. For example, you wouldn't even say these things out loud. You wouldn't say to your friend, hey friend, I grabbed a handful of M&Ms on the desk of a coworker. I have no idea how many calories it was. Screw today. I'm going to eat all the stuff because I'm not even going to journal today. I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. Who says that? Like, none of it even makes any logical sense. So if you were to ask yourself a very simple question, would I explain this to another human being as my rationale for my actions? Or would I say what I'm hearing in my head to myself to a person I care about? If the answer is no, I would not say that to anybody else. It almost sounds kind of crazy. It makes no logical sense. And it could even be hurtful. Then it's not your higher brain. Here's how you know. When you're in a conversation with another human being, your lower brain can't exist in that same world. Like, you could tell somebody, oh yeah, I had these thoughts, right? But it's usually in the past tense. It's usually not in that moment. Your lower brain chatter is not existing while you're standing there talking to your best friend about what just happened this weekend. It can't. Like, really pay attention to this. The next time you're having a conversation with another human being, notice how you do not hear your lower brain chatter, because your prefrontal cortex takes over. Whenever you have to write, whenever you have to verbalize, your thinking brain kicks in. It does not kick in when you're sitting on the couch at night watching television and thoughts flutter through your head and you're communicating with nobody, okay? So the way that you can know if it's my lower brain versus my higher brain, you're sitting in the grocery store parking lot, you just bought a whole pack of Hostess cupcakes, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna eat all these. I'm gonna throw the wrappers out. No one will know what I did, and I'll start my diet tomorrow. Like, I did that so many times. I would never explain that to somebody else. I would never say those words, but yet that was the thoughts in my head. Like, that was actually, I had those thoughts. And they weren't my thoughts, but they existed inside the sphere, right? Okay, so but if somebody had found me, I'd have been like, how do I even explain this rationally? I can't explain this rationally, right? Like, this doesn't make any logical sense. So ask yourself the question, would I say this or explain this to another human being? And, okay, one of the things that you can start to do when you feel your lower brain kind of taking over, engage in a real conversation with another human being. Don't text. Pick up the phone, call somebody. Go talk to somebody. Talk to them about things that are of importance. It'll pull you out of it, okay? Because your lower brain can only exist with you in solitude within your own thinking. It doesn't exist in the outside world. This, by the way, is why people say you have control of your actions, right? You hear that voice, you hear the messaging. You're the one that's choosing to act on it. So if you hear it and you go, oh man, I know what this is. It's my lower brain talking to me right now. How do I know? Because I would never say this to another human being. I wouldn't try to explain why I'm standing in the pantry scarfing down 3 bags of chocolates right now. Like, I wouldn't do that. So you know it's your lower brain. You go, you know what would help me get out of this? Talking to somebody. Oh, Let me call my best friend. Let me ask her what happened over her weekend. Let me engage in this conversation with her. Like, you could actually, help yourself a little bit in that moment. But the easiest way to know is, would I say this to another person? Because and this is the other reason why, when you're actively engaged in a conversation with another person, you're actually thinking usually about what it is you want to say to them. It's not like you just have diarrhea of the mouth for the most part, right? You're actually like, okay, that probably is not appropriate to say. I don't know if I want to tell them all the details of what I did this weekend. Like, you're actually trying to be thoughtful to the words you put out in the world, because there's another person listening, right? So you kind of almost self-edit, self-correct, kind of give a little bit of thought to how what you're saying might be interpreted. If you have communication, good, decent communication or relationships you care about. So what that means is those are all thoughts coming from your prefrontal cortex. It's actively engaged in that process. So I just want to help you narrow it down. Anything that's hurtful, vindictive, mean-spirited, sounds kind of cruel and harsh, never your higher brain, always lower brain. This, by the way, is why we talk a lot about self-compassion. Self-compassion is not overindulgence. Self-compassion is the way that a mom would talk to their kid, a way that a best friend would talk to her best friend. It's, oh, sweetheart, I see you're really working on this. What can I do to help? Not, oh, you had a bad day, sweetheart. Eat all the bonbons. Like, you don't say that to somebody. Like, you don't say to your kid, you had a really rough day at school, sweetheart. Let's eat the entire box of chocolate chip cookies and the pint of ice cream because you deserve it. You'd be like, yeah, you did have a rough day. And you might even make them a special meal. But the goal wouldn't be for them to indulge to the point of feeling nauseous. Do you see what I mean? So anyway, just want to help you better identify lower brain chatter, make sure that you know what you're looking for, and to be aware of the fact that that voice is not there to help you. It is in the big picture kind of way, but on the day-to-day, because we're not in a fight or flight scenario 9 times out of 10, it's just creating a lot of anxiety and stress for you that it then tries to fix. Remember, we go back to the previous videos. You don't have to fall into that pit if you don't want to. You can choose to notice it, not give into it, by doing other things that will get you out of that thinking sphere that you're in. And I actually had a client, just want to mention this, 2 different clients now. One timed herself. She was feeling emotional. Lower brain chatter kicked in. She spent about 15 minutes in discomfort with those feelings, the urge to eat, all that. I shared that story with another client just recently. She timed herself. It was 7 minutes. Now, the reason I'm sharing that with you, when we feel extreme emotional discomfort, anxiety, stress, fear, worry, panic, loneliness, boredom, okay, we think we're going to feel it indefinitely. But once you get looped into something else that takes your genuine focus away, you forget about it. And then what you realize is you might have eaten thousands of calories of food to feel better because you had 7 minutes of discomfort or 15 minutes of discomfort. Just waiting it out for a lot of people is a trick too. Go for that 10-minute walk. Focus on something else. Listen to your audiobook. Get out of your own head, because the sooner you can do that, it will pass. The discomfort will not stay there. Be honest. The last time you felt anything, even your boyfriend breaking up with you after a huge engagement and also eventually, could have been years, eventually you started to feel more neutral about that, right? You didn't stay in that same heightened emotional state forever. Where did it go? It changed because you grew, you changed, your perceptions changed, time passed, right? So what I'm trying to bring to your awareness is just because you feel something doesn't mean it's going to be there forever. And if you give a little bit of time, you might find that it goes away and you don't even have to eat or respond to it. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe and share, and I will talk to you soon.